Yeah, maar goed.
I started the stream, right?
So what we do now?
Yes.
That's not moving.
What?
That's not moving.
Yeah, okay, let's just do this with you. Just find out the whole thing.
So can I go now? Okay, let us start inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي اللهم أخرجنا من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمنا بنور الفهم وافتح علينا بمعرفة العلم وسهل أخلاقنا بالحلم وجعلنا ممن يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه اللهم اجعل أعمالنا خالصة لوجهك ولا تجعل فيها حظا لغيرك وصل اللهم على سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How's everyone today? Alhamdulillah. We'll jump right back into it inshallah. Remember you doing Nahu with Maulana Khalil, you are doing Sarf with me, right? So I get this in clear. Jazakumullah. Okay. So back into our Sarf. Just remind me quickly. What is it that we're studying over here? Okay. You learned three kinds of words, right? You learned the ism, the fi'al, and the harf. You learned that with Maulana Khalil. We said in this specific class we're going to be focusing on which type of word? The fi'al, right? What specifically about it? Before we even get there, we're looking at how a change in the form of the word is going to cause a change in the meaning of the word, right? So that, just keep that in mind. I remember I gave you a distinction. In Nahu, you learn about how the end of the word changes. Isn't that what you guys were doing today? Nasb, raf, jar, all of that, and you find a, e, u, and all that stuff changing, but only at the end, right? In Sarf, you're learning how the rest of the word changes. We're focusing firstly on the fi'al, how it changes and how that change causes a change in meaning, right? So, in that regard, we learned a couple of words last week, right? They were the first part of our first scale of words, and we said we were just repeating them, and there's going to be a lot of repetition in this thing. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to repeat that again. It's important for you to do what? To know these words, to know what they mean, and to have them this template etched in your brain, inshallah. Why? Because as you're going to see, as we go along, perhaps next week, inshallah, these words, they're just templates. Right? They're just almost like a baking tin, a muffin tray. Whatever you put in there, you're going to get out. So this thing is almost like a muffin tray. But you're going to see where the holes are next week, inshallah. Right? For now, we're just forming the whole tray correctly. So what we'll start off doing is, inshallah, we're just going to repeat these words, and then we'll move on to the rest of the scale. I have some homework for you, or not homework, some class activities and stuff like that. And then we'll just look at it from a more theoretical point of view at the end of this lesson, so that next week, inshallah, we can move on to a whole new concept. Right, so let's see. Bismillah, we start off. Everybody say the scale for me. The first part for now. Everybody. Fa'ala. What did it mean? He did. Right, so let's say it with the meaning. Fa'ala. He did. Fa'alu. They, many males did. She did. Fa'alna. They, many females did. Again, one more time. Fa'ala. He did. Fa'alu. They, many males did. Fa'alat. She did. Fa'alna. They, many females did. Right, okay, let's hear the brothers. Bismillah. Right, let's hear the ladies. Good, mashallah. Good, mashallah. The content, it's very simple thus far, right? The important component to this specific subject is repetition, right? I mean, literally there were 4 words. Last week we learned 4 words and their meaning. The content is it's not very difficult. Inshallah, if anybody does have some difficulty, we'll help you along with that, inshallah. But there's a component to this that I can't do for you. Right? I can't, no matter how much I explain it to you, the hard work of repetition and memorization, that's still on you. Right? It's not like I can simplify that. Saying it 10 times is saying it 10 times. Right? Bismillah. So, we move on. And last week at the end of the lesson, we did go through the other words. We're going to revise that a bit and consolidate it, inshallah. So let's hear. We had fa'ala, then fa'alu, fa'alat, fa'alna, and what was the next one? Fa'alta. Right. What is fa'al? Skip that quickly. Fa'alta. Give me a second. Okay, actually, I'll put this here. Before moving on to that, I actually had some examples that I wanted to show last week. You mustn't think that we're learning these things in a... Right? All of these little words that we have, they're going to build up our vocabulary and our repertoire or our arsenal of tools with which we are going to, approach the Quran and actually understand it. Right? So I just extracted some examples of these very words in the Quran. And how integral they are to the meaning of a sentence. Just to give you some examples. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, أَلَمْ تَرَ كَيْفَ فَعَلَ رَبُّكَ بِأَصْحَابِ الْفِيلِ. You may not have looked at it in that light before, but we hear the surah all the time. Right? But now you actually see, hey, there's that word that I know. أَلَمْ تَرَ كَيْفَ فَعَلَ رَبُّكَ بِأَصْحَابِ الْفِيلِ. You may have heard it before and you wouldn't even know where the word breakup is. You wouldn't even know that kayfa is one word and fa'ala is another word. You might be thinking it's kayfa fa'a and la rabbuka, depending on how the person reads it. But what we're starting to do here, inshallah, is we're starting to see, instead of seeing letters and just piecing letters together, like you learn when you learn in the surah, we are now starting to see words. Right? Instead of seeing letters, we're now seeing words. Like you can see there, that fa'ala is a word on its own. Right? And soon, inshallah, we're going to go from seeing just words, we're going to see how they create sentence structures. Right? So there's a systematic build-up to what we are doing here, inshallah. But the reason I took this out for you was to show you that, listen, even when we're learning fa'ala, we're learning to understand the Quran. Right? So what does it say? Alam tara. I don't expect you to be able to translate it for me yet. Inshallah soon. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Alam tara, have you not seen? Kayfa, how? Fa'ala rabbuka. What did I say? What does fa'ala mean? He did or? Not she did, that's fa'alat. I can either mean he did or just did. Right? If the doer is mentioned separately. So here the doer is mentioned separately. It's rabbuka. So, did you not see how your Lord did? Literally. Bi ashabil fil, with the companions of the elephant, or how he acted, or what he did. Did you not see what your Lord did with the companions of the elephant? We're not mentioning this to get into the tafsir of it or anything like that. Just to see that, hey, that word that I learned, it's actually like that in the Quran. And this is building towards my understanding of the Quran. And there's other examples as well. Here's another one of fa'alu. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and there's two examples I gave you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالَّذِينَ إِذَا فَعَلُوا فَاحِشَةً أَوْ ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ ذَكَرُوا اللَّهَ فَاسْتَغْفَرُوا لِذُنُوبِهِمْ وَمَنْ يَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ وَلَمْ يُصِرُّوا عَلَى مَا فَعَلُوا وَهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ. Again, I'm not putting this here because I expect you to understand it or anything like that. Just to see that word that you learned, fa'alu, it appears in the Quran, and we're building towards our understanding of the Quran. So what does this mean? And those who, when فعلوا, they have done, or they did, فاحشة, they did an indecent act, أو ظلموا أنفسهم, or they wronged themselves, ذكروا الله, then after having done so, they remember Allah, فاستغفروا لذنوبهم, and then upon remembering Allah now, they seek forgiveness for their sins. وَمَنْ يَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ, Allah asks, who is it that forgives sins but Allah? وَلَمْ يُصِرُّوا عَلَى مَا فَعَلُوا, and then Allah describing this believing people, He says, after seeking forgiveness from Allah and Allah reassuring you that He is the one that forgives, He then says, وَلَمْ يُصِرُّوا عَلَى مَا فَعَلُوا, and they don't then, after having done that wrong, they don't then persist in doing it repeatedly. They don't persist عَلَى مَا فَعَلُوا, upon that which, what does that mean? فَعَلُوا, they don't persist upon that which they did. Right? وَهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ, whilst they know. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is just explaining to us something about istighfar. My purpose for bringing that was just to see the word there. Another example would be فَعَلْنَا. Here's an example. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي مَا فَعَلْنَا فِي أَنفُسِهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. Allah subhanahu, this is part of a long verse where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking about divorcees, etc. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says there is no sin upon you regarding that which فَعَلْنَا, they, many females, or they females have done, فِي أَنفُسِهِنَّ, regarding themselves, بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, in what is known to be customarily good. We're not getting into the tafsir of it. I can't explain all that stuff. That's not what our lesson is about. Our lesson is just to see that these words that we've learnt already, they appear just like that in the Quran. But what I can't show you yet is how powerful those words are. There's a remnant of those like 4 words that you learned in every single verb in the Quran. In every verb in the Quran. So I can actually show you in these verses a number of places where that form appears. Right? Where that form appears, or where that, for lack of a better analogy, where that muffin tray actually exists in these verses. You're perhaps not seeing it just yet, but very soon, inshallah, it will become apparent to you. So this is just a little bit of encouragement. The words you learned are in the Quran. But then we move on. So فَعَلَ, فَعَلُوا, فَعَلَتْ, فَعَلْنَا, and then we move on to فَعَلْ, فَعَلْتَ. فَعَلْتَ means what? You, one male, did. And then we had what? فَعَلْتُمْ. And فَعَلْتُمْ meant what? You, many males did. Thereafter we had the feminine form. What is it? فَعَلْ, فَعَلْتِ. You, one female did. فَعَلْتُنَّ. You, many females did. And then we had فَعَلْ. Firstly, فَعَلْ, فَعَلْتُ means what? I did. And then we had فَعَلْنَا, which means we did. Right. So we're going to go through that in a moment. But what I want you to see is something, just anybody notice a little bit of categorization happening over there? Okay, it's on the board in category, so you'll see it now. The first 4 that we learned was when we were speaking about people outside of the conversation. Him, her, them, they, whatever. They're not in the conversation. The third person. The second 4, فَعَلْتَ, فَعَلْتُمْ, فَعَلْتِ, فَعَلْتُنَّ, those are the forms you use when you're speaking to someone. Direct speech. Right? That is the second person. And the last 2 is when you are speaking about yourself. Right? The first person. I or we. Right? That's, for me, if you remember the words and their meanings, then you've achieved what is our goal in this lesson, right? So everybody say it for me quickly. Everybody, the whole thing. Fa'ala, he did. Fa'alu, they, many males did. Fa'alat, she did. Fa'alna, they, many females did. Fa'alta, you, one male did. Fa'altum, you many males did. Fa'alti, you one female did. Fa'altunna, you many females did. Fa'altu, I did. Fa'alna, we did. I'm not seeing the Macarena happening. Let's do the Macarena, people. Come on, everybody. Fa'ala, he did. Fa'alu, they many males did. Fa'alat, she did. Fa'alna, they many females did. Fa'alta, you one male did. Fa'altum, you many males did. Fa'alti, you one female did. Fa'altunna, you many females did. Fa'altu, I did. Fa'alna, we did. Right, again. How many? Let's see, 20 times. No, okay, not 20 times. Let's just say it as many times. Everybody. Fa'ala, he did. Fa'alu, they many males did. Fa'alat, she did. Fa'alna, they many females did. Fa'alta, you one male did. Fa'altum, you many males did. Fa'alti, you one female did. Fa'altunna, you many females did. Fa'altu, I did. Fa'alna, we did. Right. We could even, if we were doing the actions, we could even say it without the translation. Fa'ala, fa'alu, fa'alat, fa'alna, fa'alta, fa'altum, fa'alti, fa'altunna, fa'altu, fa'alna. That's why the pointing is, it helps you out in that even though I'm not saying the translation, with each word I know exactly who I'm speaking about. This signifies male and outside the conversation. Male inside the conversation. Myself, the speaker. Fa'ala, fa'alu, fa'alat, fa'alna, fa'alta, fa'altum, fa'alti, fa'altunna, fa'altu, fa'alna. Right. Before we move on, are there any questions about that? What we've done thus far is we've literally just memorized these words with the meanings, and we've repeated them by using some actions to indicate to the person that we are speaking to, or rather the mode of, or the address. Third person, second person, first person. Right? Okay. So what this requires from us now is simply memorization. Repetition, memorization. Now I know many people think memorization, I was in school last like 50 years ago, and even then I didn't like memorizing stuff. Bismillah, it's a few things you must memorize. I promise you, next week you'll see inshallah, that just memorizing these 10 words is going to open up the door to you knowing thousands of words. And if you can just bear with me with the memorization of this one scale, these 10 words, and then not next week or the week after, perhaps we're going to learn another 10 words. Then all of the other scales we're going to do afterwards. They're just small variations on those words. That's like what we ask you to memorize in this course. Right? And there's no other way. It just has to be done. Right? So, before we move on, everybody says from again clearly. Fa'ala, he did. Fa'alu, they many males did. Fa'alat, she did. Fa'alna, they many females did. Fa'alta, you one male did. Fa'altum, you many males did. Fa'alti, you one female did. Fa'altunna, you many females did. Fa'altu, I did. Fa'alna, we did. Let's sort out the English now, everybody. Fa'ala, fa'alu, fa'alat, fa'alna, fa'alta, fa'altum, fa'alti, fa'altunna, fa'altu, fa'alna. Again. Fa'ala, fa'alu, fa'alat, fa'alna, fa'alta, fa'altum, fa'alti, fa'altunna, fa'altu, fa'alna. Again. Fa'ala, fa'alu, fa'alat, fa'alta, fa'altum, fa'alti, fa'altunna, fa'altu, fa'alna. Right, that's when we learn it in the form of a scale. But what about when we take it out? What does fa'alti mean? Fa'alti, you one female. You one female did. Check another one. She did. What's it? Fa'alat. Right. I did. What's it? Fa'altu. Right, good. Fa'altum. What's it? You many males did. Right, good. Fa'altun. You many females did. Right. Fa'alna. We did. Good. They many males did. Oh, females, sorry. They many females. Fa'al. I heard fa'altunna also. Is it fa'altunna or fa'alna? Fa'alna. Right. If I go down my scale, I'll see it. Fa'ala, fa'alu, fa'alat, fa'alna. They, many females, the one that's outside of the conversation. Right. That's good. Fa'alta. You one male did. Right. You many males did. Fa'al. You many males. What's it? I'm hearing fa'altu. Fa'altum. With the meme at the end. Right. Fa'altum. What does fa'alu mean? They many males did. He did. Fa'ala. Right. Good. Alhamdulillah. Everybody repeat that for me again. One more time. فعل فعل فعلوا فعلت فعلنا فعلت فعلتم فعلت فعلتن فعلت فعلنا. It only works saying it without the English if you got the know who it's referring to. You can know in your mind, but a sign that you know in your mind is that you are able to point that out, right? Okay. So has anybody noticed anything? Like, what have you noticed? We were doing something throughout this whole thing, right? And we were doing it mechanically by me telling you some words, and then you memorize the words, and we memorize their meanings. But I told you that this subject was about how the word changes, and how that changes the meaning, isn't it? Right? How the form of the word changes, and how that changes the meaning. So, what did we change? Did we change the tense? All of them was did, right? Past. All of them stayed past tense. Okay. So what did we change? Okay, masculine, feminine. We changed that. That's correct. First, tell me. The first thing was what form of the word. What did we change? We started off with that word fa'ala, and I told you fa'ala and fa'alat. They were the standard forms, right? Masculine and feminine. But what did we change? We just changed the end of the word. Right? Here we put a u, here we put a na, here we put a ta, tum, ti, tunna, tu, na. We just changed the end. And then in terms of the meaning, what changed? Okay, singular, whether it was a male or female, singular or plural. Too complicated. It's correct. But I just want you to tell me who was doing the action. The doer changed. The doer changed. So keep it simple. Right? We changed the end, and when we changed the end, it changed who? Who did the action? It changed the doer. Right? So that's simply what our lesson was about. We changed the ending, and it changed who did the action. That's all. That's the only change that we did. It's the only change that we did. Now, so now I'm just going to give you a little bit of a slide explaining that. I have a note on it. Again, despite you having a note on it, the technicality, to be honest with you, this is more a practical thing. Don't get bogged down with the technicalities. We're teaching it for completeness sake so that you have the whole picture. But what's most important from this lesson is that if you can tell me that fa'ala means he did, and fa'alta means you one male did, and fa'alna means we did, and fa'ati means you female did, and fa'alna means they many females did, and fa'alu means they many males did, and fa'alna means they many females did, and fa'altunna means you many females did, and fa'altum means you many males did. If you can tell me that, then you have achieved the objective of the class. It doesn't have to be, it won't be that quick initially. But with repetition, inshallah, it will come. Okay. The brother wants another example. That's actually the lesson for next time, the next week, right? But I give you another example. I can take a whole another word and do the exact same changes. And the same, it will maintain the same thing. For example, if I take the word Nasara. Nasara. Nasara means he helped. If I say Nasarat, it means she helped. If I say Nasaru, it means they many males help. If I say Nasarna, it means they many females help. Don't worry, that's next week's lesson. You got the example. We just changed the end, and then it changed who was doing the action. Right? So perhaps after this, we will have that a bit clearly. If you look at the Arabic verb, there's parts to it. And these parts actually apply to most Arabic words. The word is made up of 3 main letters usually, right? In terms of the verb, those letters tell us what action is being done. So which action were we dealing with when we dealt with the word fa'ala? The action was just do. That was the action, to do. But we can change those letters, as I told you now with Nasara, it means to help. So the 3 main root letters tell me that what action is being done. And then there's some changes that happen. Like we saw now, we changed the ending, and then it told me who did the action. We're changing who was doing the action. Soon, inshallah, we're going to change when the action was done. Instead of saying he did, we're going to say he is doing or he will do. Right? That tells me when the action was done. We haven't gotten there yet. All that this slide is telling you is that to an Arabic word, or an Arabic verb rather, there are the letters that tell me what action is being done. And then there's some changes that I can do that will change when the action was done and by who the action was done. Right? What did we learn thus far? We learned how to change who did the action. How did we do that? We changed the end. Right? And for all intents and purposes, we learned that by learning a scale of words. And that scale was fa'ala, fa'alu, fa'alat, fa'alna, fa'alta, fa'altum, fa'alti, fa'altunna, fa'altu, fa'alna. Right. I'm skipping over that because I don't want you to get bogged down with that. Just remember up till there. The letters tell me what? The extra changes tell me who or when. Right. Okay, so before we end, what I want you to do is, firstly, does anybody have any questions about what we've learned? Speak now or forever. Hold your peace. Actually, you don't have to hold your peace forever. You can just WhatsApp us.